Hello. I'm not sure where you are, what city, town, state, country, but it's time that we all need to focus on how we can work together, whether that's within our family, within our school community, work community, friend community, township, clearly, obviously, as the world. And we can include that not only to the physical world, we can include that in the social media world. I'm sure most people have seen that there's a lot of positive out there. There's also a lot of the opposite. We tend to see that regardless of what's going on in the world. And it's a time to be soft on each other because we all act differently under stress, and it's can be a stressful time for some. But on the flip side, there's always bright spots and beauty to anything, and we can choose to focus on that from time to time. But for now, I'm thinking if you're watching this, maybe it's a time you're just looking to chill out and unwind. For some of you, maybe some kids and teens that are out there, it's a time to kind of unload and relax and chill, maybe getting ready to wind down after a day that was busy, and maybe busy in a different way than what we're each accustomed to. So I offer this story to you, and we'll complete after the story is done with, maybe a little visualization and breath work to continue to be relaxed for a bit. So right now I invite you to find a comfortable space that can be really anywhere because it's different for each of us. Maybe if you want a blanket to be comfy or a pillow to hold on to, or some people have what we call a lovey, like some stuffed animal. I don't have him with me right now, but we have this sloth, and we have Sam, who's a stuffed sloth, like stuffed animal, not a real one, and he can be cozy. So whatever makes you cozy and comfy. And again, you could be seated, you could be laying down, you could be doing this in your car. You could really do it anywhere. So finding that spot, maybe placing your hands on your belly and noticing just as your hands move up and down as the body breathes naturally. And starting to pay attention to the inhale, again, not changing it, noticing whenever the body breathes in, and continuing to notice the inhale. As the body naturally inhales, count to it and see how many numbers you get. So maybe for me, as I breathe in, I get to 5 or 6. So now what I'm going to do as I exhale, I'm going to work towards that being 5 or 6, and this will make our inhales and our exhales even. So for me, using it as an example, I'm going to inhale for 5 and exhale. So choosing a number that works for you, a normal breath in, and then match the exhale, equaling out the inhale and the exhale. When we do this, when we have our inhale and exhale even, this helps put the body into that part of our nervous system we can call the rest and digest. So taking a few more breaths just like that. And then allowing the body to return to breathing with or on its own without adding a count or manipulating it. Coming back to noticing how the body breathes all on its own without having to give thought. Notice where your feet might be touching the ground or the mat or the floor. Where can you feel your hips? What are they touching? And the backs of your shoulders, the back of your head. Take your attention to feeling right outside the nose by your nostrils when the breath leaves through the nose. Maybe feeling movement or a temperature. And if your eyes happen to be open, maybe you choose to close them. Allowing the body to be on your mat as it is. And I'd like to share this story with you. The Quails and the Hunter. Listen carefully to this tale about a flock of quails who lived happily in the leafy hedgerows and woods. That is, until one day when a hunter came along. Do you want to know what happened? Let's see if we can find out. Now, the hunter was a clever man who made his living from catching quails. He would hide behind a hedgerow and imitate the quails' call, and they would answer him. When a good number of birds had gathered together nearby, he would throw a net over them to catch them. Then he would take some home to his wife to cook and sell the rest at market for a good price. The quails were led by a wise old bird called Tut-Tut, who decided that something had to be done about the hunter. He realized that to protect his flock, he would have to outsmart the hunter, so he devised a plan. One morning, he called the quails together. Every day the hunter lures more of us into his trap. Soon, none of us will be left. We must do something to protect ourselves. I have a plan. If we work together, we can escape him and his wicked net. The next time the hunter catches any of us, we must all fly up together from the ground when I give the call. That way, we'll be able to lift the net and get away. But for this plan to work, we must all cooperate. Everyone agreed that this was a great plan. That very afternoon, the hunter returned, hid by the hedgerow, and imitated the quail's call. Once again, the birds fell for his trick, and he threw his net over them as always. But this time, they knew what to do. As soon as they heard Tut-Tut's signal, they all flapped their wings as hard as they could until they rose up into the air. The plan had worked. Their combined strength had lifted the net, which they then dropped into a large prickly thorn bush. The hunter didn't catch one quail that day. Each time he tried to capture the birds, they escaped, and he ended up spending hours getting scratched and pricked while retrieving his net. When finally he gave up and went home, his wife was furious to see him arrive empty-handed. "Where are the quails for our dinner?" she snapped. "Those birds outwitted me today. They work together as a team," he replied angrily, "but they won't cooperate with each other for long. They're quarrelsome creatures, and they'll soon fall out. Then they won't be able to lift my net anymore. That's when I'll catch them." Sure enough, one day soon, when the quails were singing in the hedgerow, one of them accidentally sat on its neighbor's head, and a big squabble broke out. Tut-Tut begged them to resolve their dispute, but they wouldn't listen. Suddenly he saw the hunter, ready to pounce. Tut-Tut realized that if the birds couldn't work together, then they would have to escape before the hunter cast his net. He told the flock to fly at once. Most of them rose immediately, but the quarrelsome quails were left behind and were promptly caught. Tut-Tut's flock continued to work as a team, outwitting the hunter so often that eventually he gave up trying to catch them. It can be tempting to go our own way rather than work together with others. A wise person knows that they can achieve much more as part of a team than on their own. So with this, we all have probably many teams that we're working within right now. You can think of maybe your family as a team, your neighborhood, your education community, work community, extended family community. And then again, as we've said, we have the world as a community. Thinking of working as a team, where can we work as a team and come together? What can we give to one another? And sometimes we can give when we feel that we don't have plenty. What is it that you may need from your team, from your community, from your work community? We must each remember that we can give, but we also need to receive. And we can receive, but we also need to give. Taking our hands together, wherever you may be. If you're laying down, you can stay there. If you're sitting, you're welcome to stay where you are. Hands together at your heart. Eyes can still be closed if you'd like. Placing your hands in prayer position, gently pushing them towards your chest. So as you breathe in and out, you can feel your hands move in and out towards the space where you are. Going back to evening out your breath, maybe choosing the same number, equaling the inhales and the exhales. And then letting that breath go, allowing the body to breathe on its own. Taking our hands up to our forehead. May there be peace in my thoughts. May there be peace in my words. And may there be peace in my heart. And wishing for others, may there be peace in your thoughts, peace in your words, and peace in your heart. May the light in me see the light in you. May the goodness in me see the goodness in you, because we all have goodness within. And as we end our time together, we can bow forward saying Namaste. Thank you for joining me once again. I like to complete each of these videos with I hope you continue to thrive and flourish, be soft on yourself and soft on others, look for kind out in the world and look for kind within your mind, and continue to have hope.